So students, today I will start the chapter body fluids and circulation. Okay, it is under the human physiology. So as we all know the basic concept about cell, that cell is the main structural and functional unit of living organism. Okay, so to maintain its proper functioning, it's highly required to provide nutrients, respiratory gases to the cell. And for this transport of such materials, it is highly required to evolve a special kind of mechanism or special system. Okay, all living organisms, from lower to higher organisms, each and every living organisms have evolved some special systems or special mechanism for what? To transport these materials, means to transport food or nutrients, respiratory gases to the cell. But the process are not same. Such as in case of lower animals, invertebrates such as sponges, coelentrates, what they do, they actually collect or absorb water from the surrounding waters through their body cavities and helps the body to transport or exchange the nutrients to each and every cell. Okay, but in case of higher organisms, especially in mammals, it requires a medium to transport such nutrients or such kind of materials. And in case of human being or other higher mammals, the medium is mainly blood. So among the body fluids, blood is one of the most important body fluid, which is the medium to transport nutrients, respiratory gases, hormones to each and every cell. And second one is the lymph. So today I will discuss about the main properties, the basic components of blood. Okay, so just follow my notes. Let's start. Okay, so students, first we have to know about the components of blood. Yes, blood is a connective tissue matrix and it mainly consists of two things. Number one is the plasma, which is about 55% of blood, and formed elements, which is about 45%. So mainly blood constitutes the two part. One is the plasma and second one is the formed elements. Okay, so first we discuss about plasma. Actually plasma means it also contain 90 to 92% water and some proteins. So plasma mainly contains water and proteins. Why water is present at about 90 to 92%? Because in the plasma, water is present in highest concentration. Because as we all know that water is the medium of transport. It is an excellent medium of transport. For this, it's present in higher constitution, whereas protein is present only 6 to 8%. And here proteins are of mainly three types. Number one is the albumin, number two is the globulin, and number three is the fibrinogen or the fibrinogen. Okay, so these three proteins are mainly present in the plasma. Now we have to learn the functions of the proteins. Actually, what is the role of albumin? Actually, albumin protein helps in maintaining or controlling the balance between the ions and water in the blood. In the blood there are many types of electrolytes or ions present, such as calcium ions, sodium ions, and water. So it maintains the balance between the ions and water. So we also call that albumin helps in osmoregulation, or it maintains the osmotic balance. So this is the function of albumin. Second one is the globulin. Actually globulin means we know the immunoglobulin. Actually it helps in defense mechanism, means it produces antibodies. Antibody means a protein or a glycoprotein. What it does, actually they damaged any kind of pathogens or foreign materials that are entering into our body. So it helps in our defense mechanism. So globulin, they produces antibody which fight against the pathogens or destroy the pathogens or any other foreign materials that are trying to enter into our body, and in this way it protects our body. So it helps in the defense mechanism of body. It's the function of globulin. And number 3 is the fibrinogen or fibrinogen. Actually it is an inactive protein. In the plasma, here the suffix is gen. Okay, where gen is present, it means it is inactive form. Generally it is present in an inactive form, but it become activated. When it activated by some enzymes, cascade of some enzymes, or by the synthesis of some enzymes, this protein get activated. And its main function, suppose whenever there is any wound or any kind of damage occur in our body, then it helps in the blood coagulation at the site of bleeding. Means at the bleeding site, it seals the place and helps in blood coagulation or clotting. And so that's why the bleeding from the wounded site becomes stopped. So fibrinogen is an inactive protein. Whenever there is any wound or cut occurs and bleeding started, then the protein become activated by the action of some enzymes, and then it helps in the blood coagulation or the clotting. So this is a clotting factor also. Okay, here's a question, that is serum. Serum means whenever in blood there is no clotting factor, such as fibrinogen is totally absent, then it is called serum. Means blood minus clotting factors. This condition is known as serum. So serum means blood without having any clotting factor. It's a very important question. What is serum? So you all have to remember it. Okay. So we have seen that plasma mainly contains the water and proteins. Water present in 90 to 92%, and rest part is the proteins. Mainly proteins are of 3 types: albumin, globulin, and the inactive protein fibrinogen. Beside this, plasma also contains sodium ion, calcium ion, magnesium ion, and some amino acids, lipids, and glucose. These are also present within the plasma. So among the components of blood, we have already discussed about the plasma, so you have to remember it. Okay, next I will discuss about some formed elements. Okay, see, formed elements are of mainly 3 types. Number 1 is the RBC or red blood cells, also known as erythrocytes. Second one is the WBC or leukocytes or white blood cells. Number 3 is the platelets, also known as thrombocytes. So formed elements are of mainly 3 types, and it constitutes about 45%. Means among the blood, 55% is the plasma and rest 45% are the formed elements. So first I will start RBCs. The full form of the RBC is red blood cells. Okay, red blood cells. Now we have to remember the basic features of the RBC. First, shape. RBC is biconcave in shape, just like in this biconcave in shape, and it's enucleated, means it is non-nucleated. There is no nucleus present in the RBC or the red blood cells. So it is the number 1 features. Second, number. In the adult, in case of adult body, 5 to 5.5 millions per mm cube of RBC present within the blood. So its number is 5 to 5.5 millions per mm cube of blood. Okay. Next, RBC is formed in the red bone marrows. Yes, where RBC is formed? RBC is formed in the red bone marrows. Next one is the hemoglobin present. See, and the term RBC, the word is red. It means that it is red in color. Why red in color? Because it contains hemoglobin. It's a pigment. and that's why RBC is red in color. Heme means actually iron and globin is a protein. So iron containing pigment hemoglobin is present. In the chapter respiration, we have already known about that hemoglobin which is present in the RBC, what they do, they carries the respiratory gases. Yes, it helps in the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide through the blood, that we have already discussed in the previous chapter. So hemoglobin, for the presence of hemoglobin, blood is red in color, and second one is that it helps in transporting of the respiratory gases, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen. Actually what hemoglobin do, hemoglobin binds with the oxygen and carbon dioxide and form a complex and then transport them through the blood. So it is a function of hemoglobin. Actually in 100 ml of blood, in case of adult person, 12 to 16 gram hemoglobin present. It's the normal hemoglobin amount. Lifespan is about 120 days after it becomes damaged or destroyed, and after destroying they are transferred into the spleen. In the spleen it become reconstructed or reformed. Okay, so damaged or destroyed RBCs went to the spleen, and that's why spleen is also known as graveyard of RBCs. It means red blood cells destroyed in spleen after 120 days, and then new RBC or new red blood cells become constructed or produced within the. Okay, so these are the basic features of the RBC. Now next is the WBC. Full form of WBC is the white blood cells. First, it is white, means colorless. Why? Because there is no pigment. As hemoglobin present in RBC, in WBC there is no pigment is present, and that's why it is colorless or white, and its named is white blood cells. Number is less than the RBC. In the RBC's amount is about 5 to 5.5 millions, whereas it's present only 6,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cube of blood. Okay, its lifespan is about 120 days, where its WBCs are very short-lived, 2 to 3 days only. These are the differences between the RBCs and the. Okay, another thing is that types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. It's mainly two types, and here one more thing is missing, nucleated. It means in the RBC nucleus is absent, but in WBC nucleus is present, and on the basis it's present. It's of two types. One is the granulocytes and second one is the agranulocytes. Granulocytes means in this type of cells, in the nucleus small particles are present, means small granules are present, and these granules are able to stain. This is granulocytes, where agranulocytes in these cells nucleus without having any fine particles or granules. That means WBCs are nucleated, and in the nucleus some granules or small particles present. This is called granulocytes, and these particles or granules are able to stain, whereas in agranulocytes nucleus having no granules. In this basis, WBC is classified into following two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Now, granulocytes are again divided into are of three types. One is the basophils, eosinophils, and the neutrophils. Basophils means it's basic, able to stain the basic stain. Eosinophils means acidic stain, and neutrophils means neutral. That's why their name is basophils. Eosinophils means acidic stain, and the percent only 0.5 to 1% and 2 to 3% eosinophils are present. Mainly both basophils and eosinophils, what they do, they actually resist the infection. Mainly basophils secrete some chemicals such as histamine, heparin, and they involved in the inflammatory infections and resist infections. Okay, whereas eosinophil is associated with different kind of allergic reactions, and it also basophil, it also resists the infection. So both two are involved in the allergic reactions or the inflammatory reactions. Okay, this is a function of basophil and eosinophil. Whereas neutrophils are mainly present 60 to 65 present. Okay, and agranulocytes are mainly two types, monocytes and the lymphocytes. This neutrophil and monocytes togetherly help in the phagocytosis process. Phagocytosis process means they also digest or damage the foreign particles that are entering into our body. It means they both of them helps in defense of the body in the process of phagocytosis. They digest the foreign particles that are trying to enter into the body. It's their function, both they do this. And last one is the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are again responsible for our immune responses. Okay, immune responses means to increase the capability of our body so that they can able to fight against any kind of infection and protect our body. This is means immune responses. They increase the immune responses. Actually, lymphocytes are mainly two types, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes produces antibodies. We know that antibodies means the proteins or the glycoprotein that are mainly formed in the blood against any kind of foreign particles or any kind of pathogens that are entering into our body. So antibodies means the proteins that are formed against any kind of pathogens. So B cells produce these antibodies and also helps in the body protection. Whereas T cells called helper cells, because T cells help the B cells to produce the army of antibodies. That's why it's called T cells. So both are responsible for the protection of our body or to increase the capability of body to fight against the pathogens or the foreign particles, means responsible for the immune responses. So this is a function of lymphocytes. Okay, so you all have to learn the composition and the function of each type of cells. Means mainly WBCs are two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes, and they have some specific functions. Okay, last one is the platelets. Actually, platelets are the cell fragments, they thread like, and mainly they are formed in the megakaryocytes. What is megakaryocytes? Megakaryocytes is just special cells which are present in the bone marrow, and there the platelets or cell fragments are mainly produced. Their number is about 1.5 to 3.5 lakhs per millimeter cube of blood. Okay, and their main function is helps in blood clotting or coagulation. Actually, what they do, they are responsible for secreting many kinds of materials that are involved in blood coagulating or blood coagulation process. So it helps in the synthesis of another components which are responsible for blood coagulating. And if in a blood there is a loss or its reduction, means suppose the number of platelets become reduced in our blood, what will be the result? Means blood bleeding will not stop and excessive loss of blood occurs, means excessive amount of blood losses from our body. This condition occurs due to the reduction when a number decreases from its normal number. So this is the function of platelets, which actually helps in the blood coagulation. Actually, what they do, they help to synthesize the other factors that are responsible for blood clotting. Okay, so this is the function of platelets. So now I summarize the today's class from the beginning. Okay, first we have seen that the main components of blood is 55% is plasma and rest 45% is the formed elements. Okay, So among plasma, 90 to 92% is water and rest portion is the proteins. Actually, proteins are of three types. Number one is the albumin, number two is the immunoglobulin or globulin protein, and the three is the fibrinogen or fibrinogen. So albumin acts or maintains the osmotic balance, whereas albumin helps in defense mechanism, and third one is the fibrinogen. Actually, this is the inactive protein which helps mainly in the blood coagulation. Okay, so plasma portion is complete, and then the formed elements. So among the formed elements, there are mainly three types. It is of three types. Number one is the RBC or the red blood cells, which is also known as erythrocytes. Second one is the WBC or the white blood cells or leukocytes, and number three is the platelets. So first we have to know the properties of the RBC, then WBC and the platelets. The basic difference between WBC and RBC is that where WBC is colorless, whereas in RBC a pigment hemoglobin is present, that's why it is red in color. Okay, WBC is nucleated but RBC is non-nucleated. RBC is mainly two types, granulocytes, agranulocytes. Okay, and granulocytes, agranulocytes have some types also, and they have a specific function. Whereas platelets or thrombocytes, what they do, they actually help in the blood coagulation. So this is the gist of the today's class. Okay, so just go through my notes and follow the video. Okay, on the next class we will discuss about the ABO blood grouping and the RH factor and blood coagulation process. Okay.